All right, y'all, welcome back. So, tonight we got to talk about something very important. The average cost of living in every state in 2025 is significantly higher than the average income by state in 2025. A lot of people cannot take the pressure. A lot of people are buckling. A lot of people are at their breaking point right now because they simply can't keep up. Now, I'll always advocate for saving a ton of money every paycheck as much as you can, but it's gotten to the point now where a lot of people can't even afford to save. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, and there's data to show for that, okay? Now, we have some data here, and I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can go check it out. It's from worldpopulationreview.com, and it shows the updated average income for every state versus the updated average cost of living for every state. And I'm just going to give you a few examples of how mismatch it is. So for Massachusetts, the average cost of living is $145K. All right. The average income is $85K. All right. California has an average cost of living of $144K, while the average income is $77K. New York, average cost of living, $123K. Average income is $78K. And it goes on and on and on and on. I'll give you a spoiler. The lowest cost of living state right now is West Virginia at $84K. Now, what these people have done is they factored in every single thing you can think of: utilities, groceries, healthcare, cost of living, housing, everything you can think of for these numbers. And of course, getting people's income is not that hard. That income is readily available in a lot of places. So this is a problem. People's paychecks just aren't enough to cover what they have. And I actually did a video on this where I calculated the average cost of all the bills. I calculated the average cost of the average utility bills, along with the average car note, along with the average insurance, everything. I simply took an average of those numbers per research and I added them up. And then I took the average income of Americans and it was significantly lower. And this was done a year ago. And it's even worse now. But a lot of people can't simply afford to pay their rent, pay their mortgage. By the way, a lot of mortgages are doubling, pay their rent, pay their mortgage, and then buy food for their family whilst paying for insurance, whilst paying for gas and all this crazy stuff. It's so much for even a family to bear. There are married couples who are struggling right now, living in the outskirts of the city. They are not even living in metropolitan areas. They're living in suburbs. They're living in country towns, and they are struggling to pay their bills. It's not just subject to the people that live in the metropolitan area. And some states are winning. Okay, we got like Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. They got no state income tax. So a lot of times people in those states, they can pocket a little bit more money. But the paycheck struggle is still real. It's still real. Even if you live in like California or New York, you're going to pay 3, 4, or 5 times the tax for the same stuff. You're going to pay a lot for the same stuff that we get, let's say in Georgia or Florida or Texas or something like that. But it's almost like no one's winning with this. The only way you're winning is if you make significantly more. And that means that you're in the 6-figure range, or you and maybe a spouse, or you have some type of business partner, and y'all have a living situation to where y'all are splitting all the bills and your cost of living is cut in half. That's the only way a lot of these single people are making it out here. It is hard to make it living in a major city, especially if you're living by yourself. A lot of people, they just lack the income to do that more than they used to. Back in the 90s, there were people working at fast food restaurants that were able to live in their own place, have a car note, have a nice apartment, maybe not a huge, luxury apartment, but it was a nice average apartment. Now, a nice average apartment is not even affordable to someone that works in fast food. And of course, you have a lot of people that are moving to the outskirts of town, trying to get away from these metropolitan areas and still cannot afford to survive. Now that's the crazy part, moving all the way out there and still not being able to survive. It's like the American dream is on pause, if you will. Now, the cost of buying a house is outrageous now. A lot of people can't even save up enough money for a down payment. These people can't even save up money, period. But they can't even save up enough money for a down payment. And I think the data did show that around 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. So it's hard to actually save up that money to move into a new house, or even save up the money to make a business investment. You know, most people are looking at really low cost startup businesses because they don't have the funds to invest in a business. And the crazy thing that happens is when a bunch of people are doing the same thing, the market gets saturated. That's why a lot of these small businesses have gone into business and have just gotten buckled under the wave of similar businesses because the startup cost was so low, because people just don't have the capital. A lot of banks aren't even giving out loans like they used to. Now, there is a solution and there is a way you can slip through the cracks of the system of this crazy economy right now, at least until it gets better. And a lot of you already know what I'm going to say, but maybe you don't know a couple of other things I'm going to say. So one, I want to say, make sure you have some type of side hustle that you actually enjoy doing that you can monetize. If it's art, sell the art. You know, if you know how to cut grass, go form a lawn care business and just go all in with it, man. You know, or if you're a streamer, do your thing, keep streaming. But you have to be doing something on the side, because having one job, unless you're making about 120, 130K a year, it's just not going to work at that point. And a lot of times, even like I said, when you live in the outskirts, those bills are sometimes just as much as the ones in the metropolitan areas. It's crazy. So a lot of times I would say that's the solution, move further out, but it ends up being the same cost half the time, y'all. It ends up being the same cost. So one solution I can say is work remote. I mean, find a job in another state that has a higher income than your state and work for that business remotely in your state. Or find a business in your state that's hiring from work from home, work remote, and then move to a state that's cheaper. That's a solution as well. Now, I know a lot of us talk about building generational wealth, and it's to the point where generational wealth is almost like a joke at this point. A lot of these people won't even get to experience the fruits of their labor from working their entire life. People are retiring at 75 and 80 now. A lot of people are going to be working like horses for the rest of their life, unless the economy gets better, unless everything starts to go down and incomes start to go up. And of course, always give the advice, have a trade, have something that you do. Like, I don't know, if it's IT, work with computers, go get your cooking certification or go get your plumbing certification. Go get something that says that you are certified to do this. That's going to give you a leg up on the competition, even if you're applying for an adjacent type job. A lot of people are saying that the American dream is no longer attainable. It's no longer possible to have, you know, that dream where you're a man and you don't have to have your wife go to work and your kids can just, you know, run around the yard and everything is paid for and all this stuff. And, you know, all you got to do is just go work at the factory and come home. Yo, you work at a factory now, you probably got just enough to have a 1-bedroom apartment. You're probably still eating oodles and noodles from time to time to survive. Like, that's how bad things have gotten. That's how bad things have gotten. And one of the craziest parts about this is there are married couples who are opting out of having kids because they're struggling as is with just them and their dog. They're barely making ends meet on 2 incomes now. I'm talking 2 incomes. Bringing it together, and it's still not enough. Of course they wouldn't want to throw a whole human life in there. That's going to be an added expense from hell, okay? That's going to give you the perfect recipe for poverty, all right? And government assistance. And a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people don't want to go that route. So the experts tell us to save 20% of our paycheck every single time we get paid. I know a lot of people cannot afford to save 20% of their paycheck. A lot of people cannot afford to save 5% of their paycheck. A lot of people, when they get paid, the bills just come running up like Debo. And they literally take everything you got, everything. You look at your account and you're sick the next day. 20% where? But like I said, there are solutions, y'all. There are solutions. So make sure you find one. Until the economy gets better, make sure you find a solution. And guess what? If it doesn't, the solution will be the answer in the long term. So I want to know what y'all think about this. Are y'all suffering under the economy? Is any of this affecting you right now? If it is, let me know how it is, okay? And as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. All right, peace.